Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. You are here to kind of be with us in the Career Center for exploring health careers. So we're so excited to share this information with you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we'll start by introducing ourselves. My name is Jessica Barkley. I am the Career Center Fellow. So what that kind of means is I'm staff, but part-time because I am a student as well. So I, do appointments, I run programs, I, make events and do all kinds of different things. And my co-presenter with me today is Emanuel Melgarejo, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jessica. Yes, my name is Emanuel Melgarejo, but I actually go by Manny. I'm a career counselor, experiential learning coordinator, and also liaison to the College of Health and Human Services. So I do have a lot of experience working with students in these areas, and also a lot of experience in this field in terms of advising and career advising students in these fields.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So, we're all here for the health science. So health science MetaMajor, we hope you can kind of help understand your options a little bit more, what exactly it is. So the purpose of this presentation, is to really introduce and broaden this, your vision of career options related to the health science MetaMajor, and really kind of what is a MetaMajor. So Manny, why don't you go ahead and explain that to everybody for us?
Yeah, so the MetaMajor is actually something really new to the program and to the college. And it's a really great collaboration where they actually put together a lot of different fundamental coursework that really gives students the knowledge and skills to prepare for many different roles. Obviously, a lot of the majority students are always interested in nursing or public health, but now these majors also help them be ready for majors like gerontology and psychology. So it's a really great major that can actually take you to multiple different paths and majors. So really great major.
Yeah, and that's a perfect way of saying it, saying there's multiple different paths, multiple different things that you can kind of do with it. And with that, there are so many different jobs that can come with it, and I encourage, all students that are interested in the health science major and are pursuing the health science major, kind of do some digging and see what's out there for you. So this little infographic is pulled from our online platform, Handshake, where we have jobs, internships, all kinds of different things on there. And these are all current jobs that are actually available right now. So some of the big ones on there, are, medical staff, paramedic, but you can also see in smaller surgical technologists, language pathologists, working with mental health, childcare worker, all kinds of different things to kind of, still be involved in healthcare, but they might just be a little bit different than, nursing or kind of the other main pieces that we always kind of think of that way. Do you have anything else to say about this slide, Manny?
No, I think you covered it. I just think I definitely encourage students to set up their Handshake account, because one thing that they don't know is that they already have their account. They just need to set it up and use it and just log in with their Sac State credentials, which is what they sign in with their e-services, and they can have access to all these different positions, internships, jobs. There's so much there for them, and we're actually in the process of uploading a lot of our handouts onto the platform, so that way students can access those as well.
Yeah, it's a good resource to kind of do this like exploring piece and, other things that way too. And speaking of exploring, we're going to kind of talk about the complexity of the health industries. So I know, Manny, you're going to kind of talk about this, so go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so the health industries are very complex, and the best way to really describe this is, well, what do you think about when you actually hear the word health industries? So health industries, what I normally ask this to students, they always tell me, well, doctor, nurse, but there's just so much more than that. And if you really want to get a good scope, if you want to click the button and see what are the kind of things that I focus on, is, that there is also accounting, there's training and development, there's finance people, there's administrators, there's sales, human resources. So it's not just doctors and nurses that run a hospital, but so much other professions And so students need to really understand, what is out there. I always hear, I want to be in the health field, and I go, but in what capacity? Because there's even mental health in here, which is not even listed on here. But that's another area that I tell students that there is a lot of opportunity in that field to still work in a hospital, help people, which is something that I always hear from students that they want to do, and it's what's guiding them into these industries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, there's so many different things and things you might not even think are related to health. The health industries, some people would never think accounting would be related, but it definitely is that way. So wonderful. Well, now that we kind of talked about that, what about the complexity of healthcare? There's a lot of different pieces with that. So, Manny, I also know you know quite a bit about this, so go ahead and take that away as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So healthcare, it's just really broad as well. So, some of the things that we always think about is definitely the the areas of like nursing, what is it, public health, doctors. These are kind of the main ones because I know I'm also subject to that right now. I'm watching The Good Doctor, and I'm like, oh my God, doctors, nurses, and that's so cool. But those are just a small scope of all the different majors and actually careers that actually exist in this field. And so there's actually way more. And if you click the button, you can actually see some of the things that I talk about, like physical therapy, occupational therapy, educators, mental health, dietitians. There's just so many different areas that you of majors that actually can then still lead you into the healthcare industry, because hopefully between the last slide and this slide, you can actually start seeing how many different majors there are and how many different careers there are just in the realm of health, whether it's a health industry or the healthcare industries or majors that can still lead you into the healthcare. So hopefully this is giving you some ideas of what is possible with this meta major.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. So many different things and so many extra layers that can kind of go into it. And just like you said, it's not just about nursing or potentially, becoming a doctor that way. There's so many different pieces that kind of go into it. So this is kind of a quick little snapshot of, the complexity and, different ways to kind of break into healthcare. So what does it kind of mean to potentially start into that and kind of, find your path and find what's interesting to you? So over on the left of the screen, we have kind of questions for you to ask yourself of, what do I really want? What do I need? And how can I do that? So with beginning, you kind of want to understand yourself of, your values, preferences, and your skills. If you're good at math, maybe continue with that. Or if you're good with sciences, continue with that. Find something that, is not um, too far off of like something you enjoy doing. I know for myself, I wasn't that great at math, so I didn't stick with it and, try to pursue any careers with that. So next is kind of asking, what do you need? So transferable skills in the healthcare community, having transferable skills is super important. So two common ones are like leadership, communication, but there are so many others, being digital fluency, kind of understanding empathy as well. And especially in the healthcare industry, that's a big piece of having empathy and kind of caring for others that way. And then next, obviously, career path. So kind of figuring out what your category is that you want to go for, your niche that way. So how can you do that? So there's, specific trainings, there's potentially graduate school, there's programs, alternative pathways, all kinds of different ways to get from, your point A to your desired point B that way, and sometimes it's not exactly a straight line. There's different things to go through. But having the support of Sac State and the Career Center is definitely something we always recommend to students because we can help with all of this that way. So that's kind of what I think about for this slide. And what do you think, Manny? Is there anything I was missing on here?
No, I think you covered it beautifully.
Okay, sweet. All right. So with that, and kind of something that we emphasize here at the Career Center is kind of this career development model. So career development isn't, like I just said, from point A to point B. It can kind of go all different ways. So kind of the number one is, exploring who you are, talking about all those skills and, interests and pieces that way. Then you would kind of go next to the exploring Sac State majors, seeing what we have here and what can be, possible for you to get to your end goal. Then next, researching career options. So, asking the questions of, what does an anesthesiologist do? What does their normal day look like? Or what does a healthcare administrator look like? Next would be kind of your experiential education. I know we have, specific programs here in the Career Center with Sutter and Kaiser to kind of get students involved in, in the hospital setting. So it's a volunteer program that way. But there's so many other ways to get involved. So kind of getting yourself, into the situation and seeing, if it works for you, if it's something that you like. And, sometimes students realize it's not for me, or sometimes they figure out it's the perfect position for me. And then next is kind of like the deciding piece. So this is where, you're launching, you're ready to go, you're applying for things once you're close to graduating, all those kinds of pieces that, make you successful. So I know I could go on with the career development model that way, but the biggest piece to emphasize is, it's not linear. You can jump between, the exploration piece and researching career options, and then you realize, I don't like any of these career options. So then you can go back and exploring those kinds of different things. So that's kind of the gist of it. Manny, what else do you think we can share about the career development model?
Well, I think you put it in correctly, and how it's always fluid. And one of the things that I always emphasize with students is always don't be afraid that if at one point in your academic career, you're in the research and career options, or even the experiential education component, and then you end up going back to exploring who you are and what you really want. And that's okay. That's something that I did in my career. 2.5 years into my major, I realized I didn't want to be an engineer. So then the question became, well, what am I going to be? Then what am I going to work on? And so I started my whole exploration all over again in my halfway through my third year of college. And so, but that's okay. Everybody's on their own path. But one of the things that you could do is come into the Career Center. We're more than happy to support you, or also help you kind of look at where are you in this process, and where truly you should be working on. So that's something that we welcome you to the Career Center to come visit us, especially to kind of figure out what your next steps are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you make a good point. I think pretty much all of us, I don't want to speak for everybody in the Career Center, but I think all of us kind of had that pivotal moment where maybe we realized something wasn't for us, and we kind of had to go back to the exploring piece. I myself went through that, and I know quite a few others in the Career Center have gone through that same kind of piece. So, we really try to emphasize to, make that a normal process, because it's just part of the college experience. You hear about
Correct.
changing their majors all the time. And it's not a bad thing. This time is really a chance for you to figure out, what do you want to accomplish in your life, and what's going to make you the most successful that way too. So all good stuff with that. So this is kind of a roadmap that Manny actually created and helped put together, of kind of a timeline, so to speak, of, it being able to, graduate in 4, and also kind of help figure out your career in 4 that way too. So it has freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, but for the sake of this presentation, we're really just going to emphasize stuff on the freshman and sophomore piece. So with the freshmen, those that are just coming in out of high school, congratulations. This is a very exciting time. There's kind of different things that you can do and, emphasize on. So you're potentially in the exploring who you are stage. So with that, we have action steps, tips, and online resources for you to take. So big action steps that I would probably emphasize is definitely come in and visit us in the Career Center. Meet with a career counselor, like Manny or myself, and really just kind of have that self-exploration, career exploration, identifying your interests, your skills, and that kind of thing. Or if you're a person who, would rather kind of do it on your own, we also have the Focus 2 career assessment, which you just need your Sac State to log in, and you can take different assessments to kind of figure out your leisure activities, your um, work skills, all these other kinds of things, and you can combine them all together, and it can help you figure out potentially a major for you here at Sac State. So tips with that, as well as obviously on top of coming and seeing us in the Career Center, I would definitely meet with an academic advisor to kind of help plan all these pieces out, and explore campus clubs, explore different things that are on campus, because that might help solidify a decision for you too. So on our website, we have a ton of online resources. So like I said, Focus 2 is a great one that we have right on our homepage. As well as that's a way for you to make appointments and, kind of come see us and have these conversations. What I tell students consistently is come early and come often, because, things can change, and it's good to kind of talk about these things, sooner rather than later. So maybe why don't you go ahead and talk about the sophomore piece a little bit?
Of course, yeah. So I'd love to. So this is a really great section that kind of transitions you from exploring who you are to actually discovering your passions that are associated to who you are. And some of the things that you could be doing in terms of action steps would be definitely looking at internships. I always get the question, is it too soon to start an internship? And I always say no, the sooner the better. Why? Because that's going to give you hands-on experience of what you could be doing. So a lot of students, I have students who actually go into internships and they actually find out that they like something or they don't, which I tell them, if you don't like something, that is okay, because then we now can rule that out and maybe not go that route. And then we can start focusing on the stuff that you do like. So there's so many different other things you could also be doing. But one of the other things that I highly recommend is actually coming in to meet with a career counselor, because one of the things that we do is we really try to cater to who you are and where you are in the process. And so that there is no system out there that's going to tell you, and it's hard for you to do it yourself. And so sometimes you need someone from the outside to kind of coach you and help you and give you some advice as you are kind of moving through your career. So definitely come into Career Center, but also looking into internships. And there's many different ways of doing internships. You can use our Handshake tool, which we had talked to about earlier. But not only that, we also have an internship fair every spring. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. Even if you're maybe not sure that you want to do an internship right now, it's okay. Just check it out, see who's there, who are the companies that are there, some of them that you may want to look at, and then maybe go do some research. And later on, you might look at a different time. That's okay. But the important thing is to start exploring, start making that connection from who you are to things that align with what you seem to like and not like, or not like, but don't go that way, but go more with the like. But it's good to know that what you don't like, so that way you don't tend to waste your time in things that you're not passionate about. Tips that I would recommend for this is the power of volunteering. A lot of students think, oh, I need just an internship or a job. No, you can also volunteer. Volunteer is also a great way to explore different areas and also to get a taste of that and also develop skill sets. And some of these volunteer experiences are even better than an internship or job, because those ones maybe are really teaching you stuff. And I can't stress enough. And I'll just let you know that the Kaiser and Sutter volunteer programs, they're volunteer programs, but you learn so much because you get placed into specific departments like the ER, maybe in the maternity ward, and you get to experience what's happening in there. I've had a student who actually experienced that and realized, I do not want to do this because there was a lot of blood. I said, yes, some places have a lot of blood, and it could be overwhelming. And so that's the kind of experiences that we encourage you to have, so that way you can start narrowing what is the area that you want to focus on. Some of the resources that we recommend is checking out a lot of our Career Center events, but also our catalog. Our catalog is my number one that I tell students. And guess what? A lot of them never looked at it. And they ask me, where do I buy it? And I go, you don't need to buy it. It's online. So I do recommend checking that out. But there's also some other great resources down there like ONET, California Career Zones, which are great websites to help you explore these majors and learn more about them. So I highly encourage you checking them out. Do a little bit of poking around in those, so that way you can kind of get a little bit of more knowledge in your areas that you're kind of interested in exploring.
Yeah. Oh, all wonderful stuff. But I think the point of really emphasizing, you know, it's okay to start these things earlier rather than later, and, gain as much from the volunteer opportunities. That's really wonderful to hear. And yes, I've heard from so many students, is it too early for me to start internship? No, or volunteer. No, it's never too early, because so many times students figure out that they don't like something and they're about to graduate with their degree in that. So, figuring out, your niche category, your thing earlier rather than later is always, encouraged by us that way. So kind of some big pieces and other strategic resources that you can utilize while you're here at Sac State. There's some on-campus places. So within the College of Health and Human Services, there's the Advising and Success Center. So with everything kind of being virtual still, they have the option to meet with advisors and to, talk about all these kinds of things, but they do have a physical location as well too. So that's a great option, and everyone there is super nice. Manny's worked with them for many years and has a great partnership with them. Another good strategic resource is definitely the Career Center to come hang out with us and talk with us that way. Again, virtual pieces all on our website. Another one is the Center for Math and Science Success, so the pre-health professional information. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of get some extra help with figuring out health and professionalism and those things. And over in the Center for Math and Science Success, they have a good little program over there that way, again, virtual as well. And then two other good campus resources is, the Peer and Academic Resource Center, or PARC as we call it. That's a way, if you're struggling in a class and you need some kind of extra help, this is kind of the free tutoring, the, writing help, whatever it may be, to kind of make sure you're on the right track and, give you that supplemental help that you need. And as well, student health and counseling services. If you need any type of like physical help or, emotional, mental help, they're all wonderful there. I know they're, going to be on campus to help with certain things, but, a lot of things are going to be virtual this next semester. So another big piece with that is student clubs and organizations. Now, this was just a quick little snippet of a list that I could grab from the website, which is called the Hub. Pre-occupational therapy, pre-physical therapy, California Nursing Students Association, men in nursing, future pharmacists, and so many more. So if you want, get involved and look on the student organization and leadership website just to see what's out there that way. You never know if a student club is going to fit exactly kind of what you're looking for. So some more strategic resources is, these are some of my favorite websites. Manny mentioned earlier, California Career Zone. That one's pretty cool because it is categorized to just California, because California is so different from the rest of the United States. And if you wanted to look up, specifically stuff about mental health and what does it mean to become a, behavior interventionist or an applied behavior person, you can look up those kinds of pieces, find the salary, what skills you might need. It's a really cool resource to utilize that way. As well, my other favorite is Explore Health Careers. This one, and I put the logos over here so you can kind of recognize it. This one you can do kind of the same thing, but it is more categorized to health careers that way. So finding out salary information, skills that you need, potentially graduate schools, all those kinds of things that way. Let's see. And exploring is pretty awesome because it has, all majors, but I did specifically put on here like healthcare pieces. And it kind of has the same thing as Explore Health Careers. They just deliver their information in kind of a fun, different way. And can help you kind of think about things a little bit more that way. So those are some of my strategic resources. Manny, why don't you go ahead and talk about some of these ones too?
Oh yeah, you give me all my favorites. So definitely. So there's a lot of them, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics and our Career Center. The labor statistics is just another one that I would probably categorize in a lot of the same stuff as the previous slide. So basically statistics and salary information and all that by regions and all that. So it's a really great resource to get a scope of that industry. But the Career Center, again, it's one of the underlining ones that we recommend because that, we can help you. We really cater to the student and who you are and where you're at. But not only that, some of the resources that we really utilize a lot is what can I do with this major? And this one really answers the question when a student finds a major that they want to do and what kind of careers can I do with that? So it's a really great website that really puts the student helps the student look at the major that they have and what are all the different paths that they can take. Not only that, it also gives them organizations to look at, different industries to look at within with that major, and also strategies. My favorite strategies of what you can do with that major or how to get to that major. Another good resource is LinkedIn, which is it's something that I always get. Well, isn't that a networking site or isn't that? Yes, it's actually all of that. It's a networking site. It is also a mentoring platform. It's a job search platform. So it has so many. But one of the big pieces of it too is also a great tool to do research, and that's why it's really important that students start using that early on. If you go on to the next page, this is a great slide with showcases the information of what our alumni are doing. So this actually outlines what our alumni are doing in public health with a public health degree. So our public health, as you can see, a lot of them are working for the state through the California Department of Public Health. Some of them are working at the university. Other ones are working at Sutter Health. Other ones are California Department of Healthcare Services, Kaiser, UC Davis, Dignity, or just generally just working for another industry in the state. So this just gives you a great snapshot of that because, we do make up a large component of student population once our alumni graduate, in which, about 8,300 students of our alumni are in the Sacramento area. So that's a good percentage. And about 197 work in the Department of Public Health. So, and something you should know, one of the things in this time, I know is we're in COVID-19 time. And during this time, organizations like California Department of Public Health is still recruiting. So these are still great places for students to start looking for opportunity. Same thing can be said for Sutter Health and UC Davis, which are other areas that a lot of our alumni go to. These are also organizations that are still hiring, that they're still have a need for interns, have a need for volunteers. So definitely, if you're looking for internships to explore, don't think, oh, COVID-19, I can't do any of this stuff. Actually, some of these organizations are still recruiting and looking for either employees or also volunteers or interns. So definitely keep that in mind as you start looking at opportunities to start exploring.
Yeah. And this is just a quick snapshot of just one, major here at Sac State. There's so many others. And, if you're curious on how to find this and how to figure this out, come and talk to us in the Career Center. We can show you a quick, easy way to figure that out that way too. Well, that kind of really concludes everything that, Manny and I really wanted to emphasize for everyone today. If you want to come hang out with us, come talk with us, we are all virtual. So just on our website, you can create appointments with Manny or myself. We can kind of have these conversations, or you can always email. And as well, there's the phone number where you can, leave a voicemail and we can talk to you that way as well too. So thank you so much for joining. Any closing thoughts as well, Manny?
No, I want to invite you to come visit the Career Center. We're really available all summer. A lot of students think like, oh, it's summer and we're not available, but we are. So we are available during the summer. We have appointments. And so feel free to definitely utilize us. Summertime is a great time to continue your exploration, especially as you're coming in as a first-time freshman, maybe a first-time transfer, whatever it is, and start that process of exploring. So feel free to utilize us with that process.
Yes, perfect. Well, I couldn't have said that better myself. So, all right, everyone, well, have a great rest of your day. And, we look forward to seeing you at the Career Center.